The benefits of the mission, I can think of none. Prior to the coming of the mission, I mean, our people, like I said, for thousands of years they lived here. And so whenever, from the day the child was born, they started telling him what his identity was, what his place in the world was, how to keep balance in his life. They taught him their oral stories, their oral histories. They taught him the ceremonies, the songs, the prayers, their places of power. That person had a very secure world, and it was passed on to them generation after generation. And they accumulated knowledge, and they accumulated identity, and they had confidence, and they had pride, and they knew what their responsibilities were. You know, and then came the mission period. And they were basically, not basically, they were just totally ripped out of that world and placed in another world. And there was nothing but fear and terror there. I mean, and how could a parent, their kids being ripped away from them, how could the parents pass on that important indigenous knowledge that's needed for them to know their identity, for them to have their confidence, for them to know what love is, to know what pride is? How could they know where their places of power were, what their ceremonies were? They lost that. And the next generation, they lost even more because the parents were unable to teach them. And the parents were just interested in survival and fear. How can you teach a child to have love? How can you teach a child to have self-respect and identity and to know who they are and to be optimistic and how to solve problems? And how to believe in a better tomorrow. And how to deal with difficult situations. We all deal with difficult situations. But if you imagine for a couple generations during the mission time, where we were not able to share and pass on the indigenous knowledge that our ancestors had, that we needed to have within our life to keep our balance, to keep balance on our world, and the universe. We could not do that. You know, but the thing is this historic trauma is real, and it ties right back to the mission times. That is when we lost our traditions, our customs, our ability to teach our children, to pass on optimism, to pass on love, to pass on self-respect and respect for others. That's when we lost it. When you go to the mission, there's no truth told of California Indians there. There's no truth whatsoever. It's not, you know, we're not even mentioned at all in many of the missions. You know, when they were closing the missions, the last Padre Presidente, Mariano Payeras, was the father of Mariano Payeras, he said, we are going to be judged very harshly. We need to come up with an alibi because we are going to be judged very harshly. All we have done is consecrate, baptize, and bury the Indians. So those papal bulls, they said that we were the enemies of Christ, that we were pagans, we were savages, we were to be dominated. It was okay for them to steal our land. It was okay for them to steal our possessions. It was okay for them to rape, murder us. It was okay according to the papal bulls. And those papal bulls were given by the Pope of the Catholic Church. Junipero Serra was a very good Catholic. He was a very poor Christian. He did not live the life of Jesus Christ. And that's why I and our tribe absolutely oppose the canonization of Junipero Serra.